Boardwalk School of Economics, the right choice.
Okay, greetings once again, fam. This is the Reverend Dr. Claud A. Sinclair, social engineer for change, attorney at law, minister. We are our brother's keeper, our brother and our sister's keeper. And we know, left to our own devices without anyone interfering with us, we are nation builders. And we know in this society how many communities that they've torn down, poisoned the water, bombed and robbed and killed. So because they know who we are. We don't know who we are, but they know who we are. And in my course curriculum, I have history lessons where we listen to other bright and talented individuals in our community and others who are dropping some knowledge and so forth. But we want to, not only do we want to have knowledge, but we want to make sure that it is effectively used to create action within our individual lives, our homes, and our communities, because we have to evolve and we have to do it now, right? So this part right here, I think it's part 3. I don't know, I haven't lined them up. I'm going to line them up so it's a sequential. So there's some some reason to this, some logical reason to this these presentations. So this right here is from The Atlantic, theatlantic.com. The source of black poverty isn't black culture, it's American culture. And like I alluded to earlier, we know that they have, and maybe you don't know, especially young folks, you don't know. And a lot of you growing up, oh, it's colorblind, we're equal, there's no more racism. Okay, get over that. It won't be any more racism until you make it that way. See, because like I mentioned before, we've gone through this before. Civil rights movement, where we raised the consciousness of white America. And we did a job for a while, 40 years, 50 years later, they forgot. They passed it down to their children. Now they're in power, and they did the oppression thing all over again. So now we have to raise the consciousness of black America. What do you have to do? They're not going to give you back stuff that they already took from you, because they everything they do, they blame you for it. They blame the victim. They got their foot on your neck. You're saying you can't breathe, but they don't care. They do it over and over again. So you have to get the knee off your neck. And you have to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And that's through organizing, getting your mind right, being able to think, know how to make proper decisions. And just because you have money don't make you smart. Because you got people with money getting ripped off all the time and don't know what the heck they're doing. And they have a saying in the white community that black folks, you just holding it for them anyway, because they're going to get it back anyway. And that's why we at the bottom. At the end of slavery and emancipation, we have more generational wealth than we have right now. All right. So this one we're going to talk about the source of black poverty. Isn't black culture, it's American culture. And we know the problem, but that's not going to solve it. And all the reports that they're doing, you know, these feel-good reports and studies and all that kind of stuff is not going to do anything unless we take charge of the situation ourselves. And begging for reparations, we need to take reparations. Take reparations. They only respond to power and strength. See, and we need to quit being so soft-skinned and crybabies all the time. We need to toughen up and get angry about this and do something. You ain't talking about being violent or nothing like that. That marching stuff, come on now, that raised their consciousness, that made them do some changes and stuff, but that's not lasting stuff. The only thing that's going to make it last is the activity that we do within our homes, within our individual selves, and with our family, and the way we train our children to behave and react in society. Now, schools should be social grounds where they learn how to interact with other people and being able to get along with other people. See? So, and education, if you can't read, write, and add, you're gonna be poor. Simple as that. Simple as that. Okay. let's get started here. Americans don't want to imagine that our racist history is actually an ongoing racist reality. See, they peeing in a jar and telling us it's Kool-Aid. Come on now, and most of us thinking it is. And the rest of society, they doing the same thing to them. That's why there's 99% gap between wealth and riches. It's a criminal enterprise. Because we, the most powerful of the people, aren't smart enough to make sure that the system works for us. Americans don't want to imagine that our racist history is actually an ongoing racist reality. A reality TV show. And that's why they got all these shows on TV to put you to sleep and make you think that, I can get that, I can do that. And you're not living in reality. You're living in make-believe. You living in a reality TV show you living vicariously through someone else. And that's not even real. And some of that stuff on TV is so disgusting. And then you got people and our young people going out and mimicking that kind of stuff. We like to look at racism as a thing that has gotten better, if not gone away completely. And that the way Black Americans are treated in society is actually colorblind. So if forced to pick between the idea that our country's structures and systems are biased toward white people or the idea that Black communities are flawed, many pick the latter. Some doing so, of course, because they're racist. The past week has seen an extended and thoughtful debate between New York's Jonathan Chait and the Atlantic's Ta-Nehisi Coates over whether cultural forces within the Black community are to blame for enduring poverty. And when the first one that I read about that Eric Dyson did, responded to on Cosby, that I believe that was the first one, and we talked about that briefly. But anyway, links to the various points of the debate are at right. It began after Wisconsin Representative Paul Ryan referred to a culture in the inner city where generations of men are not even thinking about working. Remarks broadly seen as racially controversial. Coates' first post largely took aim at President Obama's similar remarks, putting blame for poverty on Black culture. Now I'm gonna have to look that up. I haven't seen anything where Obama said something like that. Probably after he been president, but I'm gonna look up that. But it really doesn't matter. The bottom line is that what we know we have to do for ourselves, because these leaders, these so-called leaders that we have, they're worthless. Responding indicating that many other, like I said, this is from the Atlantic article. You can download it on Google. That's why I pulled it up. I pulled up some articles so I can have discussion points. The only point being is to go to the powerthroughunity.org website. I enroll in the curriculum. I spent my whole career and I put that material there, so I teach you about the creation, accumulation, and preservation of wealth. How to position yourself to create wealth, to live a wholesome and healthy lifestyle for your family, and to make sure that they live in good, and make sure that you prepare your children for the next generation, because that is your duty. That's scriptural. And the coach and these individuals, you can look them up, do the research and stuff, like I said, but it's not necessary because it's going to be the same. All these studies that you do. Then Urban League puts a study of Black America every year, but they don't come up with any solution. They just say what you need to do, what we need to do. We already know what we need to do. We already know what the problem is. The problem is that nobody's teaching us how to compete economically in this society. And that's what I'm doing, teaching you how to compete. And I just need, let's get 1 million of us together. And then I teach, everybody else going to come to you, create a product that the world needs and wants. They're going to give you all their money. So just come on, whether you believe it or not, do the work. And it's going to, just like your parents say, just be the best that you can be. You do that and you listen, things turn out right for you. You already know that. Coates' first post largely took aim at President Obama. We already said that, okay. And indicated that many other Democrats agreed with Obama's position. Over 3 more posts, the argument grew more defined, as is outlined. Here is what is beyond dispute. In 2012, 35% of blacks lived in poverty, compared to 13% of whites. In 1970, those rates were 33.6% and 10% respectively. Poverty in the black community is higher and has been consistently. There exist three options for that persistence, if we assume that culture might play a role. There is something about black culture that prevents black Americans from escaping poverty. We'll call this the black culture option. There is something about the culture of being poor that prevents the poor, regardless of race, from escaping poverty. We call this the culture of poverty option. And we glorify poverty, but like I said, you still be yourself and have fun with money in your pocket, with money in the bank. There are no internal culture forces. This is the third option. There are no internal cultural forces at play. We'll call this partly for the sake of stirring the pot, the racism exists option. Because we know if they get out of our way, that we can do marvelous things. But they don't want that because they know what happened. But we want to work together. We're not evil-spirited like that. This distinction isn't simply rhetorical. If there are cultural forces at play, one of those three things must be true that we talked about earlier. The black culture option, the culture of poverty option, or the racism exists option, right? This distinction isn't rhetorical. Let's see. If there are cultural forces at play, one of those three things must be true. What's more, the political implications of each are different. If the black culture explanation is correct, it suggests that admonishments against the behavior of black Americans, the sort of thing that Coates has consistently objected to, are a proper response to entrenched poverty. If there's a culture of poverty, there needs to be a broader cultural realignment among all poor people, one that's not limited to the black community. If there are no internal cultural forces at play, then the racism exists explanation becomes significant. See, if you educate yourself, we come together and work together, we don't care about no racism. We'll blow it out the water. See, we playing their game. We playing into their game. Because their goal is to make sure that our children are minds are dark, which means that they dumb. They can't think. And if you dumb children that can't think, you become adults that's dumb and can't think. Then you engage in inappropriate behavior. It's like a football team. If you're tired of them losing, you want to make sure that the people know how to run the plays. They work together, they plan together, and they're working as a team, and they're not fighting against each other. Put more simply, there are three options for why black people continue to experience higher levels of poverty. It's in the black people. It's in part black people's fault. It's in part poor people's fault, and it's society's fault. The best answer without question is the latter. See, I mean, it may have started off as a racist thing, and they forced our hand, but we planned the script that they wrote for us. They laid out a script, and we going by the script that they wrote for us. That don't make sense. It's like a train that you see that's going to fall off the cliff, and you got an opportunity to jump off, but you stay on and you just going to falling off the cliff. And the reason that this and the foolishness about it, the same thing with immigration and so forth. The immigration thing was so they can dilute black economic strength. And then our children suffer because they don't have a work ethic. They don't have jobs and opportunity, which creates poverty. Down there, you have men that grow up to be that's not working, don't care about a job. And the parents treat them like their boyfriend, so they don't make them, do anything. There ain't no man in the house. And the kids now that's not growing up with a man, they don't know what a man, authority of a man figure is. So they fight against that. So we're in a spiral of total dysfunctional spiral going down further and further. We don't fix this thing. So we got some super soul. We got a million super soul sisters out there.